crafty life is messy. Your craft room cannot always be clutter-free, and that's a good thing. If it was always pristine, it would mean you're not using it. As crafters, we expect crafty messes to build up. That being said, wouldn't it be good if there was a way that you could easily get your craft space back in order so you don't have to tidy before you create? One of the most effective ways to keep clutter at bay is the 1-minute rule. The idea that if you can do it in a minute or less, you should do it now, not later. If you follow this rule consistently, you'll help keep clutter under control and create a system of sorts. Habits that will help you maintain a clean and tidy craft room without even trying. In today's video, I want to share with you my favorite 1-minute tidying habits. Now, this list is not exhaustive. These are just my favorites, the ones that I found to be the most helpful. Stay tuned for my favorite tip of them all. It may seem like a very small thing, but it has been a game changer in helping me keep my craft room clutter-free. Well, most of the time. The beauty of these 1-minute habits is that they are so simple. But don't underestimate their simplicity. That's where the magic happens. These are simple, doable steps that, if done consistently, will help you create a clutter-free craft room. Starting with habit number 1. Allocate everything a home. Every item in your craft space should be allocated a place to call home, and that spot should be the first place you would go to look for it. By allocating everything a home, you'll spend less time looking for supplies and more time creating with them. Habit number 2 is to clear your desk. A messy desk can make an entire craft room look messy. It's the craft room equivalent of not making your bed. Every time you finish a project, take 1 minute to put those craft supplies away and clear your desk. Habit number 3 is simple. If you can put something away immediately, do so. Don't pile your supplies up to put away later. If you can put them away right now, do so. The best way to do that is to make sure that all of your frequently used supplies are within arm's reach, so you don't have to get up from your desk to put things away. I especially love my Rascog cart for this. It's always right by my side and the home to my most frequently used supplies. Habit number 4 is to deal with paper clutter, especially receipts. I suggest you hide them from your husband as soon as possible. Be sure to also follow habit number 5, and that is to clear away your paper scraps. It's inevitable. If you're creating any kind of paper craft project, you're going to be left with paper scraps, and it's important that you deal with those immediately. Have a designated spot for them if you plan on reusing them, and don't be afraid to pop those very small paper scraps directly into the recycling. If you're looking for lots of ways to use up your paper scraps, I've made a video on that. I'll be sure to link it below. Habit number 6 is to store like with like. Collecting like items together will always make a space feel less cluttered. Baskets can be your best friend when it comes to this. Take just 1 minute to gather like items with like and throw them in a basket. To take this tip to the next level, add a label. I promise your space will feel much less cluttered. Having a clutter-free space is really all about managing the supplies that you have. And that's what makes habit number 7 really, really important. All you need to do for this habit is allocate a spot for every new item that comes into your stash. Anytime I purchase something new, I pop it straight into a basket. I know exactly how much I've been buying and whether I've been using it or not. Anytime an item is used, it's taken from that basket and put into my standard organization systems. So what's in the basket are all the things that are new to the space that haven't been used yet. It's very insightful. I can quickly and easily see the new things that I'm bringing into my space. This has not only saved me from buying duplicates, but is a really easy way for me to see how much I'm spending and the things that I'm buying. I've started to notice too just how long it takes me to use something new, and that helps me make better buying decisions. Managing what comes into my craft room is a really easy way to help it stay clutter-free. Habit number 8 is to start a donation box. Simply grab a random box, and anytime you find something that you don't love, pop it in the box for donation. You can send this to a school or nursing home, or gift it to a crafty friend. Also called a to-go bin, the act of simply having one will help you move excess supplies out of your space. Habit number 9 is to remove things that don't belong. Anything that is in your space that shouldn't be there has to go. Never leave your craft room empty-handed. Take kitchen items back to the kitchen, and those random miscellaneous items, pop them where they really should go. Your craft room is not a dumping ground. It's not a spare space to put random things. Each time I leave my craft room, I take with me anything that doesn't belong and I put it away. To be honest, habit number 10 is the one that I struggle with, even though it only takes a minute. Habit number 10 is to put your completed projects away. I am so guilty of letting scrapbook layouts stack up and get shuffled around my space rather than taking the 1 minute to put them away. Don't be like me. Put your projects away as quickly as possible. Habit number 11 is to have an idea book. As a creative person, I'm sure you're always finding inspiration and ideas. Rather than having notes all around your craft space, be sure to store them all in one place. I have a digital and physical version of this for ideas and inspiration that I find digitally, and then things that pop into my head or notes that I might have written down. Once set up, having a designated home for your crafty ideas will not only keep your craft space clutter-free, but you'll know exactly where to go when inspiration strikes. Habit number 12 is to empty your trash can. Removing rubbish takes less than a minute, and it has a really big impact. It's also the best place to start if you're having a general declutter and cleanup. Start your cleanup by focusing on rubbish and see where that takes you. Habit number 13 is to discard items immediately. If you find a marker that's out of ink, throw it in the bin immediately. If you find paint that's dried up, throw it out right away. Don't pop it back in the drawer. I know you've done it. If you open a new supply, put your rubbish straight into the bin. And if you find something that you don't love, into the donation box it goes, right then and there. It takes less than a minute, and it's these tiny steps that make all the difference. Habit number 14 is to batch similar creative tasks together. If you're working on die cutting out shapes, take 1 minute to run a few extra designs through the machine. You've taken the time to set your machine up and pull out all the supplies, so why not spend 1 minute creating a few extras for later? I've found this helps me get even more use out of my dies, and you can do it with lots of different creative processes like printing out photos, heat embossing, or creating card bases. Habit number 15 is one of my favorites, and it is to reset your space in between projects. Every time I finish a project, I take 1 to 2 minutes to reset my space. I put away all of the supplies so that I can have a fresh start. I know what you're thinking. Surely it takes more than 1 to 2 minutes. Not really, because if you do it each time, you're only having to tidy the supplies that you've just used, which aren't that many. That overwhelmed feeling in your craft space comes from not putting things away and letting things pile up. You can avoid it completely by resetting your space after every project. Habit number 16 is to push in your chair. Now, I know that sounds crazy simple, but I promise your space will look tidier just by doing that. Crazy simple. I'm reminded of that Bible verse that says, "One who is faithful in very little is also faithful in very much." And it's a reminder that the small things matter. It's the little things that make the difference. And if you can be diligent in a small task, then it's going to be a great foundation that you can build onto. In time, with consistency, these small tasks develop into habits. And before you know it, you're doing it without even thinking about it. Habit number 17 is to clean your scissors. Get into the habit of keeping your scissors clean, because over time, there's a lot of adhesive and gunk that can collect on your scissors. Clean scissors mean clean cuts, and that will give your projects a really professional finish. Habit number 18 is the one touch rule. This one's for you if you notice yourself shuffling things around your craft room. Instead of moving supplies from one place to another, put them in their designated home. Touch them once. Habit number 19 is to designate a drop zone. If you're prone to dropping things on any flat surface, a desk or a shelf, allocate an area specifically for that. At least that way, everything will be together and not spread across your space. Yes, I've left my favorite habit till last because it is a game changer. Habit number 20 is to make things easier to put away than it is to pull them out. This has really helped me to keep my craft space clutter-free. It's been a game changer. You see, when you're looking for supplies, you're motivated to use them and you're willing to do whatever it takes to pull them out. The same can't be said when you're going to put supplies away. So you need to make that as simple as possible. I personally much prefer large storage bins and boxes to smaller ones that need a lot of organization. I love to be able to grab a bunch of supplies and just throw them in a basket. It doesn't matter that I need to dig through the basket to pull the supplies out because I'm motivated to find what I'm looking for. When it comes time to pack away, I just want to be able to quickly move on. Sometimes the smallest habits can make the biggest change, especially when you group them together and create your own routine. Rather than trying to get the perfect craft room overnight, change your focus to make it just a little bit better each and every day. Explore the power of 1-minute habits and remember how small tasks done consistently can have a really big impact. With just a little practice over time, they'll become second nature and your craft room will almost tidy itself. If you want to learn even more about organizing your craft room, I've left a bunch of resources and links in the description box below, and be sure to watch this video next. I'll see you all again very soon. Until then, bye!